Sometimes too.
Yeah. Okay. So there is Shantaras or Shantarasa. Shanta meaning peace. It refers to a passive relationship with the Lord. So that refers to the plant life, the earth, the trees, the flowers, the rivers, the oceans. Like they have, well, not that there's an ocean in Vrindavan, but you get the idea. So they all have a passive relate. They're not like actively engaging in a relationship, but their hearts are fully, given over to Krishna. And internally, they are, reciprocating in their hearts. And then there's dasya, the relationship of servitude. So there's some active. Nice. So then there's dasya ras. Dasya meaning the mood of servitorship. So in that mood, there's some active service to the Lord. But there's some little distance there, because that master relationship, that master-servant relationship, there's some element of formality, right? Some conception of awe and reverence. And so this is one way in which the gradation of planes of consciousness is assessed on the basis of which rasas are present there. So for example, Vaikuntha, Narayan's abode, is sometimes known as the plane of 2.5 rasas, because there's Shanta ras, Dasya ras, and a little bit of Sakya ras. Sakya ras is the rasa of friendship, relationship of friendship. So in Narayan, he's a very impressive figure. Narayan is God. He's got 4 arms and he's got the whole deal.
Infinite castle.
Huh?
Infinite palace.
Infinite palaces. He's a very godlike, figure, of divinity. So there mostly it's in Dasya Ras, the mood of servitorship. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which is a nice book to read when you have the chance, Srila Sanatana Goswami is describing, is charting this gradation of rasa in different planes. And so one part of Brihad Bhagavatamrita is charting the journey of this young cowherd boy, Gopakumar. And at heart, he's a Krishna Bhakta, and he belongs in Vrindavan. But he starts out from the lowest plane within this world, and he's gradually moving through higher and higher planes of consciousness. So he moves through all the planes of this world. He attains a position like Lord Brahma at one point, But because of his innate inclination towards Vrindavan and Krishna, he's never satisfied. And so there's a humorous description when he reaches Vaikuntha, and he doesn't fit in with the Vaikuntha, he has this mood of friendship with the Lord. And so there's one occasion when, I can't remember the exact details, but he speaks, I think it's he speaks of the Lord in a way that could seem a bit irreverent. And then some of the Vaikuntha Basis, they get a little upset, you can't, or maybe it's he wants to run to embrace him. When he sees Lord Narayan, he tries to run to embrace him, something like that. And the Vaikuntha Basis, they all get very annoyed at him. What are you trying to do? You can't approach Lord Narayan like that. He's not your buddy. He's the Supreme Lord. What are you doing? So that's the prevailing mood there. And then there's some touch of Sakya Ras, the mood of friendship. for more intimate servitors. Like the classic English setup. You have like a noble who has their trusted. What do you call it? We don't have any authentic British person in the room. Like there was who's that guy Jeeves? What is he called? Like the manservant, like trusted butler. I think I'm thinking of a butler, something like that. There is this famous one, Jeeves, I think.
Yeah.
You've heard of him.
Yeah. Is he not?
He was a butler.
Butler. Yeah, I think he's something like that. But you'll see moments of intimacy. Like they're the servant and they have their position because they've been serving so long. And they have like close service. Then they may sometimes give advice or behave relax a little, and their master will treat them in more of an intimate way. So Vaikuntha is like something like that. And then there's only one servitor who has Madhura Ras relationship, and that is Lakshmi. There's only one. So that's hardly there at all.
Oh, I was told that she was who had half like the friendship relationship.
Sorry, what are you saying?
My impression was Madhura Ras is completely not present there, and that Lakshmi has a half friendship relationship with Narayan.
Lakshmi Devi is Narayan's consort, so they have a conjugal relationship. So that means Madhura Ras. So what are you saying? So that's hardly there at all. But it's true. I mean, her mood, like Srila Gurudev, he also mentioned about in Ram Leela, it's also like that, And he said in Ram Leela, everyone, even Sita Devi, they're tending towards the mood of Dasya Ras, although there are other elements of the relationship. But another point about Madhura Ras is that all the rasas are included in Madhura Ras. Each rasa has all the characteristics of the previous rasas. So Sakya Ras will have in it also Dasya Ras. And Vatsalya Ras, which is the next rasa, means the mood of a superior, like a parent or a guardian. That includes the previous rasas, and it also, so Madhura Rasa, it is the most complete rasa. And we can think of it as from down to up, but we can also think of it from up to down. Like Madhura Rasa is also called Adi Rasa, which means the original rasa. So all the other rasas are coming from that. It's another way of seeing it. Not that we have, qualification to discuss such things. But what was I saying? So,
The radiation of rasa varies around.
Yes. So Vaikuntha is sometimes known as the plane of 2.5 rasas. So Shanta, passive relationship, Dasya, relationship of servitorship, Sakya, relationship of friendship. There's more. So in each of these rasas, there's increasing intimacy. Sakya, mood of friendship, so they're wrestling, they're playing with the Lord, they're jumping on his shoulders. Then Vatsalya, which indicates the parental relationship, there's increased degree of love and intimacy. And then, most complete rasas, Madhura Rasa.
Is it that you go up, like you progress like through them, or is it that you people are more inclined to different relationships?
Both are possible, actually. Actually all possibility is there. First of all, we can just say that we don't worry about that too much right now. Because we're still going through Amara Jivan. And we're going through Anartha Nivritti, purification. But for the sake of clarifying the ideal and the conception, then I can comment that it's absolutely fine. But just so, it's clear, Yes, I mean, it is mentioned that every jiva has a swarup. Swarup means one's intrinsic spiritual form. And in one's swarup, there is some inherent inclination, some inherent tendency towards a particular rasa. So, our line, the line of our gurus, is exclusively focused on Madhura Ras. That is, the line of Srimati Radharani. Our gurus aspire for us to enter her camp, her service camp. So that is held as understood to be the highest ideal, and that is like the aim. However, not all jivas, may have that inherent inclination. And, we hear of disciples of we've heard Srila Gurudev discuss disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur who showed some inclination towards another rasa. Like even Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev pointed out how, there was some mixture there. Like in his prayers that he wrote when he reached America, he mentioned to Krishna, in the future we will play and we will jump together, and this is describing a relationship of Sakya Ras, mood of friendship. So Gurudev said some mixture. And also Krishna Das, there's a place where Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, another godbrother of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he had an attraction towards Sakya, more, explicit attraction towards Sakya Ras, the mood of friendship. So that is one thing. And another thing is that yes, a soul may move in a progressive way. Certainly that's possible. We hear descriptions of persons who may, this is I think a rare occurrence, but there's one case of Shyamananda Prabhu, one great devotee who appeared a few generations after Mahaprabhu, who received initiation into, I believe, Sakya Ras. But then he received a promotion, it's described how I believe some of the Sakis of Radharani herself, they came and invited him into, they could see he had tendency for this higher type of seva. So he was invited into, there was some promotion. Even though he was situated in that type of rasa, he was given an upgrade. So we hear of cases like that. But another point is that if we are in the line of our gurus, if we're following the line of our gurus, they can take us directly where they want to. They have that. If we are, faithfully following the line of our gurus, they can directly take us there. So this question was asked to Srila Gurudev once, how in this book that I mentioned, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Gopakumar is described as moving in a very gradual and systematic way through different planes of existence, and finally reaches Vrindavan. And so somebody asked Srila Gurudev, all souls have that type of journey? And Gurudev said that no, not necessarily. He said, if you're a member of the Rupanuga Sampradaya, then it is like getting on an elevator, and you can go directly there. So that possibility is certainly there. And I've also heard Srila Gurudev mention a few different examples of souls who, devotees in our mission who left. He made some comment, and that there was one devotee who actually left his body in Navadvip, very Westerner, very auspicious soul. And somebody asked him afterwards, where did he go? And Gurudev said, first he will go to the heavenly planets to finish his material desires, and then from there he will go up. And then there was another case of a very great devotee in our mission Rishabdev Prabhu, when he passed away, Gurudev said he went to Gora Krishna Leela. Some souls go to Krishna Leela, some souls go to Gora Leela. This is mentioned in Brahma Samhita. And there are other souls who have equal inclination towards both, and they can attain a place in both. So Gurudev made that comment about him. And a few other times he mentioned something. So all possibility is there, actually. Yeah. Okay. Well, that answers your question. Okay. Well, I think I finished what I was going to say. Right? We can hear them. So we're continuing with reality, the beautiful. Summarizing the Ramananda Sambad. Okay, so the science of rasa. Ramananda Rai explains that from there, pure devotional service develops in a crude form, in a general way, and when it is more mature, it must take the shape of shanta, neutrality, dasya, servitorship, sakya, friendship, vatsalya, paternal affection, and madhura ras, conjugal love. In shanta ras, there is adherence, nishta. One thinks, I cannot withdraw myself from this consciousness of continuous submission to the truth. Neutrality develops into dasya ras, the desire to do some service. Oh, yeah, I forgot another point I wanted to make. Maybe Srila Sridhar Maharaj mentions it here. But that, we can talk about this gradation, right? This is superior to this and so on. But, we also have to understand that it is not that there is any lack, actually, in any of these rasas. It is like perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. It is like that. And on one hand, we have to be really careful not to make offense, when we're making this type of analysis, because who are we to make judgment like that? But then another point is that each of the servitors in those rasas, it's not that they're feeling any lack. It's not like, oh man, I got the short end of the stick. I'm in dasya ras. It's not like that. They're all fully satisfied and ecstatic, and even if they're invited to go to a higher rasa, they won't accept. Like the example is given of Hanuman in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He's describing the Pandavas, because Hanuman, he's like the epitome of dasya ras. He's the perfect servitor. He's like the highest example of dasya ras. And so then at one point he's celebrating the devotion of the Pandavas and the relationship they have with Krishna as being superior because they're situated in Sakya Ras, the relationship of friendship. But then there's some suggestion, let's go and meet with the Pandavas, and like let's see if we can also have like a closer relationship with the Lord, something like that. Then Hanuman's like actually no, like I don't want to leave the relationship I have. I'm very happy here. I'm like totally fixed in this relationship. So it's not that, so this is called tatasta vichar, impartial analysis. So from the point of view of impartial analysis, we can make some assessment of the gradation. But on the other hand, each of the servitors in those rasas, they are fully satisfied, they're very happy with what they have. So, yeah, that's also something to remember.
Really partial. Hanuman is partial.
They're partial. Neutrality develops into dasya ras, the desire to do some service. When a devotee is not satisfied by only sitting, showing loyalty to the supreme authority, he wants to be utilized by him. He awaits the Lord's order, praying that the Lord may give him some engagement. When a devotee has such deep penetration that he wants to be utilized in any way by the Lord, that is known as dasya ras, or devotion in the mood of service. Then there is sakya ras, devotional service and friendship. God the friend. When in dasya ras confidence is added to service, then it becomes a little superior. Generally, old servants who are faithful become confidential servants. So when the confidential stage is added to service, it becomes sakya ras, or devotional service as a friend of the Lord. First there is nishta, adherence, submission. Then the devotee wants to be utilized for his satisfaction. Then there is confidential utilization, and then it comes to friendly service, sakya ras. In Vaikuntha, where Lord Narayan is served in calculative devotion, only shantaras, dasyaras, and half of sakyaras are seen. Full confidence is not possible there. Awe, reverence, splendor, grandeur, pomp, apprehension, all these vanish when we develop a more confidential relationship with the Supreme Lord. At that time, the object of our worship or love changes in another way. Then from Vaikuntha we feel attraction for Ayodhya, the divine abode of Lord Ramachandra, where there is neutrality, servitorship, and friendship with Vibhishan and Sugriva. There we can also trace Vatsalya Ras, parental love of Godhead. Right, because Narayan, he's just eternally existing. He doesn't have parents. So that relationship is not possible. That rasa is absent there. God the Son. In Vatsalya Ras, confidence has developed to the peculiar stage in which the servitors think themselves promoted to the post of protecting the object of their veneration. Filial affection is also service. Although it seems that the parents are masters of the situation, controlling the Lord as their son, sometimes chastising and punishing him, this is a superficial view. If we can enter into the depth of their service, we shall find an incomparable love of a most peculiar type. On the surface, they are engaged in punishing and rebuking the Lord. Underground, they are full of interest for the welfare of the object of their service. Vatsalya, or parental love of Godhead, is a peculiar type of divine love. We see a very light type of Vatsalya in Ayodhya, so it is almost ignored. Mathura, the Krishna conception. Rupa Goswami leaped from Vaikuntha to Mathura in one stride. In his Upadeshamrita, he writes, Vaikuntaj janito vada madhupuri tatrapira sotsavad. Mathura is superior to Vaikuntha because Lord Shri Krishna appeared there. It is there that everything is shown in a clear and substantial way. In Mathura, we find the Krishna conception of Godhead. In one stride, he has come from Vaikuntha to the Krishna conception, but Sanatana Goswami has filled up the gap. In his book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he says that on the way to Mathura, there is Ayodhya, the spiritual kingdom of Lord Ram. And there we find Sakya and Vatsalya Ras. But Rupa Goswami goes to Mathura at once. He says, come to Mathura. Here you will find Sakya and Vatsalya Rasa clearly visible. He has shown how Sakya Ras service is present there. The devotees there are playing with Krishna. sometimes climbing on his shoulders, and perhaps sometimes even giving him a slap. But although they mix with him in this way, their heart is full of a peculiar type of service attitude. That is the criterion. They may give up their lives 1,000 times to take a thorn out of his soul. They can sacrifice themselves 1,000 times for the slightest satisfaction of their friend. They consider him 1,000 times more valuable than their own life. In Vatsalya Ras also, the criterion is similar. For the slightest interest of the object of their veneration, they can give their lives millions of times. Such affection is found there. So this is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's wonderful way of expressing things. He says that Rupa Goswami leapt from Vaikuntha to Mathura in one stride. This is a famous verse, and so Srila Sridhar Maharaj is comparing different descriptions of the gradation of spiritual planes of existence. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj is pointing out in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, this text we've been mentioning, there's like a very what are you going to say? A more systematic presentation. Nothing's left out. So it describes, Gopakumar moving from Vaikuntha, then to Ayodhya, the plain of Ramachandra, which is superior in rasa, and then from there, Ayodhya to Goloka Vrindavan. But however, by contrast, Srila Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita, you're familiar with that book? ISKCON published it as the Nectar of Instruction. It's just 11 verses. It's a very good book to read because it's very complete. And just those 11 verses, everything is covered. So then there's one verse there where Srila Rupa Goswami, I think it's the 9th verse. Yeah, 9th verse. Srila Rupa Goswami is describing the gradation. So he starts out saying superior to Vaikuntha is Mathura, and then superior to Mathura is Vrindavan, and superior to Vrindavan is Govardhan, superior to Govardhan is Radha Kund. However, in that beginning, he misses out Ayodhya. He goes straight from Vaikuntha to Mathura. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's describing this in a very wonderful way. Rupa Goswami leapt from Vaikuntha to Mathura in one stride. Because in Ayodhya, these rasas are not so clearly manifest. So better go straight to Mathura, Vrindavan, where it is more clear. These rasas are more clear. And then from Vatsalya, it progresses to conjugal love, Madhura Ras, the all-comprehensive rasa which includes adherence, Kshanta Nishta, service, dasya, friendly confidence, Sakya and parental love, Vatsalya Ras. But the wholesale dedication of every atom of our existence for Krishna's satisfaction is found in Madhurya Ras, which includes all other rasas. And Madhura Ras is more enhanced when it is couched in the form of Parakiya, or paramour relationship. In Parakiya Ras, the gopis risk everything for the service of Krishna. Parakiya Ras takes two forms. In one, there is no obligation of anything. The union may happen or may not happen. So, because their meeting is very rare, it becomes even sweeter. There is another kind of Parakiya Ras. We are told that ordinary food is not palatable to Krishna, but when he takes food by stealing, that is more tasteful to him. If we can follow this art, that may also be applied in the case of Parakiya Ras. I am deceiving the party, getting what I want. I am stealing the property of someone else. That sort of posing becomes more tasteful to the subjective party. And the dedicated party risks everything, their good name, society, future, and even the dictation of the religious scriptures. They take a wholesale risk. Just as one time when we were in Madras, the king of Jaipur gave some money for the construction of a temple. The money was sent to our head office in Calcutta. Out of 5,000 rupees, the first installment was 1,000 rupees, and the construction work was begun by sending a worker from our main center. Then Madhav Maharaj and I were sent to Madras, where we heard that the king would soon come. In order to show him that some work had been done, we raised the construction to some extent, so the king could be told, "Your money has been spent, and now the next installment is necessary." In order to do this, we incurred a debt. We took a loan for bricks and other things and raised the construction to a higher level. When we wrote this to our Guru Maharaj, we had some apprehension that he would chastise us. So like to inspire him to give more money, they had to show something's been happening. But to do that, they had to take a loan. When we wrote this to our Guru Maharaj, we had some apprehension that he would chastise us. Why have you taken this loan? Instead of that, he gave us his appreciation. You have risked your future in the service of Krishna. You have taken a loan, and that means you have to pay off that loan. So you have engaged your future energy in the service of Krishna. You will have to collect money and pay off the loan. So there is service with risk of the future. The gopis consciously risk their future. We have disobeyed our superior persons and the directions of the Vedas. What we do is neither approved by society nor by the religious books. Our future is dark. Still, they could not but serve Krishna. So, Vaikuntaj Janito Vadamadupodi Tatrapira Sotsavad. Janito means Vatsalya Ras and Madhura Ras in Vrindavan. Radha Kunda Mihapi Gokulapate. In the Madhurya Ras also, 3 groups are shown. Vrindavan in general, selected groups in Govardhan, and the highest group in Radha Kund. All these things have been shown in the conversation between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After this, Mahaprabhu said, "Go further." Then Ramananda Rai began to explain the kind of service rendered by Radharani in Madhura Ras. Her devotional service is categorically higher than that of all the other gopis. Radham adhaya hridaye tadyaja braja sundari. The whole group of gopis can be cancelled only for one, Srimati Radharani. What peculiar type of service may come from her? And Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, Swayam Rup, is only by the side of Radharani. So any Krishna not by the side of Radharani, that's a different Krishna. So we always worship Krishna with Radharani, with his Shakti, with his potency. By the side of other gopis, that is Prabhav Prakash, a plenary expansion, not Swayam Rup, the original form. Such is the quality of Srimati Radharani. We should show our highest reverence to this highest ideal of devotional service. Then the last question came from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can you think of anything more than this? Then Ramananda Rai said, you asked me to quote scripture to support whatever I say, but here I won't be able to quote scripture from anywhere. Still, because at the beginning of the conversation started with Mahaprabhu saying, tell me what is the goal of life, citing evidence from scripture. But now, Mahaprabhu's reached the zenith point, and he's still pushing Ramananda. Ramananda's like, I didn't know there could be anything more than this, And well, actually, I have some inspiration from within myself, but I can't think of anything in the scripture to verify this. Still, I have a new feeling within me, and if you would like to know that, I can explain it to you. In this way, one song was composed by Ramananda Rai. He introduced this song by saying, "Whether or not it will be pleasing to you, I do not know. But it seems to me that there is a stage which is even better than the meeting of Radha and Govinda. There is a stage where both of them, the positive and negative, are combined. No individual consciousness is clear, and one is searching another in self-forgetfulness. This searching of one party by the other is very strong and intense. This seems to be a more highly elevated love, union in separation. A deeper union in separation. Radha and Govinda are so intense in their search of one another that even they have no consciousness of whether they have each other. Radharani sometimes experiences that even while Krishna is present before her, she fears losing him. That feeling becomes as intense as if she lost him. They are together, but the apprehension that one may lose the other makes their meeting intolerably painful. Just as a mother is always alert about the safety of her son. A mother thinks, "Oh, my son is out. Is he in an accident?" This fear of separation is the symptom of deep love. Ramananda Rai's composition gave a hint about the divine appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in which both Radha and Govinda are combined, and it is as if they are unconscious of their separate existence. One is searching the other. Krishna himself is overflowing with the feelings of Radharani, and they are so deeply embraced that one is lost in the other. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put his palm over the mouth of Ramananda Rai and told him no further. Because he's indicating who Mahaprabhu is, you know. So I was like, okay, stop there now. Rasaraj Mahabhav Duyakadup. Lord Shri Krishna is the fountainhead of all pleasure, and Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of ecstatic love of Godhead. These two forms are united as one in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu replied, because then Ramananda, he's saying, he starts to see this form of Radha and Krishna and combining as Mahaprabhu. So then Ramananda, Ramananda tells Mahaprabhu, like, what is this? And Gurudev would always quote those verses. Like, before I was seeing the sannyasi, and now I'm seeing this beautiful golden girl, you know, and Krishna, you know, like, what is this? You know. So then Mahaprabhu deflects that. Mahaprabhu replied, oh, because you are a 100% devotee, wherever you cast your glance, you see only Krishna. Because this is the description of the Mahabhagavat devotee. They see the Lord everywhere. They're seeing Krishna. So Mahaprabhu is like trying to avoid this. And, Ramananda is like pinning him down. And Mahaprabhu is like, oh, you're such a great devotee. You're seeing Krishna everywhere. Because you are a 100% devotee, wherever you cast your glance, you see only Krishna, nothing else. The object of your interest is represented everywhere. Ramananda Rai said, oh my Lord, do not deceive me in this way. You have come here so graciously to purify this mean person. And if you act diplomatically now, it will not look well for you. I won't hear what you say. Come out with your real position. Who are you? Mahaprabhu said, by dint of your loving devotion, you can know everything in this world. Nothing can be concealed from your loving eye. Premanjana charita bhakti vilochanena. Then Mahaprabhu revealed himself. When you see me to be externally of a golden color, it is not so. It is by the touch of the color of Radharani. And who can Radharani touch and closely embrace? She will never touch anyone except Krishna. So now you know who I am, Rasaraj, ecstasy himself, and Mahabhav, the one who can taste that highest rasa. See how they mingle together. Ramananda Rai fainted and fell flat on the floor. He could not keep his senses. Then, by the touch of his hand, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again brought him to his senses. Ramananda returned to his previous stage of consciousness and saw a sannyasi sitting before him. After a short pause, Mahaprabhu said, "Remain here, I am going." Afterwards, Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had some other talks. And Mahaprabhu said, "Ramananda, as long as I live, I want your company." Ramananda replied, "Yes, I must take shelter of your divine feet and live there for the rest of my life." Ramananda later made arrangements with the king of Orissa to retire from his post as governor of Madras and came to Jagannath Puri. For almost 2 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered about the holy places of southern and western India and at last returned to Puri. There they again met. So that's the end of that summary, and then Srila Sridhar Maharaj is telling more of Mahaprabhu's later Leela. He says here, it was shown, such a wonderful quote, it was shown by Mahaprabhu in his practices also, how Krishna prema, love of Krishna, can play a man like a doll. So the Sridhar Maharaj has such a wonderful, charming way. Because he would listen to the radio, and he was highly educated as well. So, he knew different expressions and, ways of speaking, and then he's incorporating that in his talks, like modern, at the time, modern expression, right? I mean, nowadays we don't hear that so much, but at the time that's like a phrase that people would use, how a man can be played by a doll, like a doll, So it's very charming. Okay. So tomorrow we can go through this chapter of Ramananda Sambad. But I'm happy we did this. We heard this first. It will give us some deeper perspective when we're going through.
Is it Guru Maharaj's summary?
What did you say?
Is this Guru Maharaj's summary?
Yeah, this is from the Search for Sri Krishna, the last chapter, by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. Jai. You haven't sung, have you? Would you like to sing? Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Janavaya Namaha. Janavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Rupa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinatha Nitai Gosai Kori Charana Bandana Jaha Vaishya Vignana Shabishta Purana Nitai Gosai Jamui Janadasa Sansabada Pada Denu Mora Panchagrasa Hajira Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivasa Janame Janame Moe Abhinasa Echai Gosai Jage Braja Kailabasa Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kodila Prakasha Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majaya Mana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kodiyasha Harinam Sankirtan Kohen Tamadasa Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Shri Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Bhagavan Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur ki Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ji ki Jai Saprashad Shima Mahaprabhu ki Jai Shri Navadip Dham ki Jai Shri Ganga Jamuna ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Tulasi Devi ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Shama Kundada Kundgiri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Shri Bhakti Nirmala Charya Maharaj ki Jai Shri Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj ki Jai Charya Vinda ki Jai all the assembled devotees ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Do you know how to turn off the camera, Griffin?